A very happy new year to all our viewers out there. We thank God for a brand new year 2012. It is our prayer that it will indeed be a very happy and fulfilling year for us all. Last episode, we brought to you one of the two semi-finals of the grand finale of the 2011 President Inter-Secondary School Debate Championship. And we promised you that today, we'll make the second semi-final between Gombe and Ebonyi State representatives. The topic is the same. Political instability is a major factor driving away foreign investors rather than high rate of taxation. So here we are, and like we did last episode, we allow the children do their thing.
Our stand, ladies and gentlemen, in this debate is that political instability determines the rate of tax within a country. To start with, ladies and gentlemen, the problem of insecurity occasioned by political instability. Our leaders today have been kept in a time bomb that may explode at any time because of the insecurity in the country. Many reasonable projects have been abandoned in our country, Nigeria, simply because the federal government has invested so much just to ensure security. Between 2005 and 2007, an average of 57 foreigners were kidnapped in the Niger Delta region. That scared away foreign investors. Now, all we have is endless suicide bombing by a terrorist network known as Boko Haram. First, they started with the Eagle Square, to the police headquarters and the United Nations building. How will you expect foreign investors to come to our country, Nigeria, when they have seen that this terrorist network have even attacked the police headquarters and go through with this? Certainly, I will not do business in a place where I'm at the risk of losing my life. That is why we say that until and unless the problem of security is solved in our country, foreign investors will see no reason to come to Nigeria. Furthermore, ladies and gentlemen, the problem of poor infrastructural development occasioned by political instability. Nigeria is too far behind when it comes to infrastructural development. Let's talk of the problem of power failure, ladies and gentlemen. This has greatly affected industrialists in Nigeria because industrialists in Nigeria now spend over 1.8 billion naira weekly just to fuel their generators. The Ghana will give light has celebrated 3 years of steady power supply, while Nigeria, the giant of Africa, is still struggling to celebrate 1 day of steady power supply. Let's talk about the poor transport network in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know that transport network makes it possible for these foreign investors to locate potential markets for their business. But in Nigeria today, how many pliable roads do we have? Worse, ladies and gentlemen, we do not have advanced facilities. How do we expect these foreign investors to come to Nigeria and start from the scratch without any background to lay their hand on? That is why we need to rise up to this occasion and address these problems squarely and not find a words or whom to blame. And in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, the problem of electoral crisis. Electoral violence in Nigeria today is as if it's inevitable. The use of political thuggery in Nigeria has seated up our polity. We will not forget so soon what happened in Efuru, headquarters of OV in Delta State, in the year 2005, in a clash between the thugs of People's Democratic Party and Alliance for Democratic Party, when 15 persons lost their lives, including a nursing mother and 2 foreigners, ladies and gentlemen. Until and unless Nigeria realizes this fact, we shall continue resting on a keg of gunpowder that may explode at any time.
Mariam Osman is my name, a student from Gombe State, standing here to oppose the motion. Political instability is a major problem driving away foreign investors rather than high rate of taxation, which I'm against the motion. I heard my opponent talking about Niger Delta problems that is affecting that is driving away foreign investors. But do you know that the government tried its best in order to see that it creates Niger Delta Ministry that is not securing the lives of these foreign investors? And now, if I may ask, what about other countries? Are they not also facing these political instabilities? Developed countries like America, China, they are also facing problems of this political instability. And then I go to my point. First, I would like to permit me to start with tax incentives. You see, in Nigeria, they are not observing, and the government are not observing these tax incentives in a way that these foreign investors will come to our country, they will be investing, and the government will never encourage them for that. But what about other countries like USA, and China? They are being encouraged and even given tax holidays because of their works. But in the case of our government in Nigeria, they don't even encourage them at all, but rather be imposing high tax on them. And you see, this will discourage them from investing in our country and go to other countries. They will say, we cannot, this is too hectic for us. We cannot continue in Nigeria because high tax is being imposed on us. How can we continue then? And this is to tell you that it is not political instability that is driving away foreign investment, but rather high rate of taxation. And next on my point is multiple taxation. In the case of this multiple taxation, it is also a factor that is driving away these foreign investors because the government is not finding a system which is a match grant fee. What does that mean? That before the foreign investors will come to invest in our country, they must have to pay them tax on this match grant fee. Imagine. And another in my point is conveniency. We all know the best system of taxation, that taxation should be certain, clear, and its payment convenient to the payers. But that is not the case in this system of tax that is being imposed on this political instability, because the conveniency of these foreign investors are not considered. Upon the high rate of taxes that will be imposed on them, the people, the tax collectors will not consider their conveniency. Come today, tax payment, tomorrow tax. This will be too hectic for them. How then do you want them to continue in a country that will not consider that conveniency? Now, come to talk of corrupt activities of the tax collectors. I believe you all know that they always create fictitious name of tax in order to gain and to confuse these foreign investors, because they feel they don't know anything about the system of taxation in Nigeria. So they will use this opportunity to be cheating them, to be collecting their money and be using it for their own benefit. And these foreign investors cannot continue in such country. And that is why I want my co-debaters to come down to my fence that political instability is not a major factor driving away foreign investors, but rather high rate of taxation. Now come to talk of royalties. You see, royalties are fees charged on government properties. And you see, there are some of these foreign investors that are high intellectual and they are skillful, but they have no money. So they may borrow these government properties in order to aid their activities. And you see, this government will use this opportunity to impose high tax on these properties, because they know definitely they may go for it. And you see, this will also discourage them from working in Nigeria, from investing. Thank you for giving me time to convince you on my ideology.
The Federal Inland Revenue Service introduces the tax card to make all tax payment easy for you. Just follow these 7 easy steps. Obtain your taxpayer identification number, TIN, for free at any FIRS office. Get your tax card from your bank. Log on to www.firsonline.com. Then register to obtain a password and access the payment process pages. Fill your TIN number, tax type you're paying, amount payable, and period of payment. Confirm the entries on your transaction. Then print your e-ticket and present at any FIRS office as an evidence of tax paid. It's that simple. For more information, visit www.firs.gov.ng or any FIRS office close to you. FIRS, it pays to pay your tax.
So we'll now call on the first supporting speaker from Team Proposition, Obu Chinemere and Pascal.
All protocol duly observed. The team opposition has failed to convince the members of this House to agree with them that actually the rate of taxation is a major factor driving away foreign investors. In the course of their argument, they stated the fact that multiple taxation scares away foreign investors. But members of the House, let us not forget the fact that these foreign investors are not newly introduced to tax. They also pay taxes in their countries, and most of the times they pay higher taxes than that which they are asked to pay in Nigeria. They also stated the fact that there is no confidence in the payment of tax in Nigeria. But ladies and gentlemen, the overriding factor here is that no matter the rate of taxation in Nigeria, it is the political and government of the it is the politics and the government of the country that determines the rate of the country, that determines the rate of the tax. And with this, I go on with my points. First and foremost, the poor reputation of the country. This can be attributed to the poor political will and representation of our leaders, members of the House. Nigeria, as we all know, is always one of the blacklisted countries is always one of the blacklisted countries in most of the developed nations. Just in the last few years, we heard of the case of a one-time politician in Nigeria who went to Switzerland to withdraw money from his Swiss bank account, but on reaching there, the Swiss government were very much afraid to remove such a huge amount of money to give to him. This can also be attributed to the fact and can also be said that he has stolen the country's money. Let us not also forget Farouk Abdulmutalab, who attempted to bomb the US airline. And when these foreign investors are not ensured that they are safe in the country, how then could they be attracted? The fraudulence, even within the country, members of the House, is at its high rate. Have we forgotten so suddenly of the case of money laundering by the former governor of Bayelsa State, or the case of embezzlement of former governor of Delta State? All these are the major reasons why foreign investors will not have the encouragement to come to invest in Nigeria. Moreover, ladies and gentlemen, the rate of taxation has nothing to do with scaring away foreign investors because of the devaluation of the Nigerian currency. What will it profit a man to come to Nigeria to invest if he finds out that millions and billions of the Nigerian naira make up only fractions of his or our country's economy? Members of the House, the devaluation of the Nigerian currency started from First Tax 77. This festival, members of the House, accumulated much and ran Nigeria into a great debt, thereby devaluing the value of Nigerian money in the international market. Moreover, ladies and gentlemen, the unstable governmental policies scares away foreign investors. The instability in policies in the country has ended up scaring away foreign investors. The Daily Sun newspaper of Monday, July 4th, 2011, analyzed how Philips Electronics, which was known as one of the foreign firms to start electronic production in Nigeria, got fed up and left the country because of the inconsistency in governmental policies. Members of the House, the government of the country, which forms a successive government, will not like to carry on with the activities started by the former government. Members of the House, I do not really see the need for this debate because it is clear and glaring that no matter the rate of taxation in Nigeria or in any country at all, the stability of the government and the political instability also determines the rate of taxation in every country.
I can see clearly that my lovely debaters here are circumnavigating through on one point. Now you said that it is due to change in policy. Please, Obasanjo ruled this country for 8 years. Can you boast that at that time there are many investors? So please, I want you to get this right. And you said that those foreign investors, they are not secure, this and that. I want to tell you that our government, our politicians, or those in seat, they make sure that these foreign investors have good security. Please, I want you to get that. And also, you talked about the issue of Niger Delta. Please, Niger Delta are harassing those foreign investors that are here to see that they loot our oil. And they are doing that for the betterment of our country. So get that. You also said that there are no infrastructures. Please, I want you to understand this. That these infrastructures is due to lack of tax generosity in our country. If our tax is generous, then they will have something to take good care of this. It is because the tax is not generous. Get this? And even our roads is due to tax generosity. And you also talk about the issue of Boko Haram. Let me tell you, this is because you are putting high tax on these foreign investors. And when they leave, those youths in our country that before are employed with these people, they are left unemployed. And as that, they get themselves into all form of dubious acts. Now to my point. I want you to understand this. That there is no country that is not facing political instability. Every country you see around is facing political instability in one form or the other. First of all, I want to talk about the Slumbago oil industry. It was when Obasanjo was in seat, the politics was very stable, but they left. An account have shown that they left due to high rate of tax on these people. And also, I will talk about Iraq. Iraq is a country that is more developed than Nigeria. You can see foreign investors are going there. But I want to tell you that Iraq is even more unstable than Nigeria. If instability is the major cause, I believe they will not go there. But in Nigeria, that is not the case due to instability. And also, I want you to understand this. Michelin also, they left this country. Michelin industry, they left this country due to high rate of tax, and as of then, the politics was very stable. And also, you can see China; they are in great conflict with Hong Kong. But still, that is a form of instability. But you can see that still investors are still going there. This is because the rate of tax is very low. But in Nigeria, though the stability is not as high of China, but still investors are not coming. This is because the rate of tax is very high. And also, I will talk about tax holiday to affirm what my first speaker have said. In other countries such as Ghana and the rest, you can see that these investors are given tax incentive. When I mean tax incentive is they are being appreciated, their effort is being appreciated, they are being given rest, and it is encouraging them to stay. But you can see clearly in Nigeria that is not done. And also, the tax system in Nigeria is very poor. Now, just take a look at it. The protocols that these investors follow at the cost of paying this tax, it is very cumbersome. And I believe even my judges here, if they are in a business in another country and the protocols followed in this tax is causing problem to them, that they won't even get profit. And also, about the high rate of tax, I can remember when Sosoliso Airline was in function in this country. They had a plane crash, which I believe can take can take place on any other kind of aircraft. And because of the death of one prominent professor in this plane, the tax, they were taxed highly. Apart from the tax they paid because of the death of this man, they pay tax on other things. And because of that, they consider this and say, okay, we cannot continue this. We have to stop. We have to go to other countries that the tax is very low. My audience and my debaters, I believe you are much convinced that, please, political instability is not the cause scaring investors in our country, but rather the high rate of tax we are imposing on these investors. Thank you.
Is taxation really severe enough to drive away foreign investors from our country? So far in this argument, the team opposition have been giving us countless reasons why they think that indeed the high rate of taxation drives away foreign investors from our country. But ladies and gentlemen, the truth of the matter is that Nigeria does not have high rate of taxation enough to drive away foreign investors. To begin with, the Company Income Tax Act of 1993, Section 61, 62, and 63 provides for the deduction of taxes from companies from their interests and benefits accrued to them and not from their capital. More so, Nigeria charges only 5% of value-added tax, while in most countries it is 7%. Also, most countries which the team opposition mentioned as countries which have low rate of taxation also have high taxes, such as countries like Japan have 40.69%, Cameroon has 38.5%, and Angola and Argentina has 35% rate of taxes. All these taxes are high, ladies and gentlemen, but foreign investors still go to these countries. Also, ladies and gentlemen, what truly drives away foreign investors from our country? Indeed, the fact is clear and glaring that the only thing that drives away foreign investors from our country is political instability. And when we came up with the argument that it is indeed political instability that determines how taxation goes in a country, the team opposition could not counter that. Ladies and gentlemen, when Nigeria was created and when it was enshrined in the Constitution, when the issue of taxation was enshrined in the Constitution, everything was well spelled out and would have gone very well for foreign investors. But due to the high rate of political instability and the change in government policies, foreign investors could no longer stay in our country because they will not condone a situation in which if they come to the country with the mind that the country is going through this policy and the next thing they see is that the policy is changed. Let us take a look at the era of military rule in Nigeria, ladies and gentlemen. There was many coup d'etats and government were changed. Consequently, that really affected foreign investors. Our first speaker rightly said that these companies use over 180 billion naira to fuel their generators. Ladies and gentlemen, what profit is there in a company that spends such huge amount of money just to get power supply? Definitely, they won't get any result, and that is the major reason why these foreign investors have left our country.
I'm Amna Jemima, a student from Gombe State, and I'm here to oppose the topic that political instability is the major factor driving away foreign investors in Nigeria rather than high rate of taxation. But first of all, I would like to counteract or debunk some of the points which the proposition side made mention of. They said that Nigeria has poor infrastructure. Okay then, what is the main aim of these foreign investors coming into Nigeria? Of course, it's to develop underdeveloped countries. And that is the reason why they are here in Nigeria. So you don't have to tell me that poor infrastructure is what is scaring them away, but rather it is bringing them in so that they will improve the standard of Nigeria, so that it will be moved to a greater height. You even talked about the issue of a governor that went to Switzerland to even store up some money in the bank account because he stole the money. Most of these people that go outside to maybe store their money, they got this through tax evasion and also through corruption. And this is all as a result of collecting the taxes. So it is not in any way to be compared as political instability. Now down to my points. I'm going to talk about imposition of high taxes on foreign investors. I'm sure that before investors are being taxed or levied taxes, there has to be the determinant of what they have sold or what service they have rendered. And this is based on their profit that they will be charged. But we Nigerians, what do we do to these foreign investors? Even before they purchase, even before they use or render their goods and services to our country, we charge them high taxes that they should pay. If I'm not sure of the probability of me succeeding in this business and I'm being charged high rate of tax, do I still engage myself in that? No, that will scare me away. Next is clearing and forwarding of goods. If we could see, we have many of our goods or commodities that are being brought by these foreign investors laid up or abundant in the ports. And this is all as a result of the high tax being levied on them. Because they have to pay high tax for them to be cleared and then forward their goods into this our country. Okay, now, you talked about political instability that has made these foreign investors to scare away. We've seen that there are establishment of foreign companies, even in the presence of political instability. So you see, there's no reason you should tell me that political instability is what is scaring these foreign investors, because in the presence of this political instability, they still came. Next, I'll talk about social responsibilities. We've seen that Nigerians now have improved to a standard of telling foreign investors to maybe improve on their social amenities, laying that as a tax. Developing someone's country that I don't even belong to. Come to think of it, that would be so high on them, because they now pretend and say, okay, construct schools for us, construct hospitals for us, and that would just be over or shifted on that tax. We have increasing taxes on foreign inventions in order to encourage local content. The speaker from the proposition side made mention of that only few percentage of high tax is being levied on these people. But do you know that in just 10 years, there is an increase in taxation on these foreign investors? Just in 10 years, from 5% to 60%. I bet that you should side with the opposition side that high rate of taxation is one of the major factors bringing about scaring of these foreign investors. Thank you.
We'll now call on the first speaker from Team Proposition for their summary speech.
Thank you. Before we proceed, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to put it as a challenge on side opposition to come up in their reply speech and explain to us the type of tax that was increased from 5% to 60%. Ladies and gentlemen, there was something I told you when we were starting this debate, that political instability causes high rates of tax. It really there is high rate of tax. By telling you that it's political decision that influences high rate of tax, are you going to tell me that tax will influence our politics? Certainly not. It is our leaders that increase the rate of tax. That means political instability influences the rate of tax in Nigeria. This is just to show you that the point of side opposition has been dissolved. It baffles me, ladies and gentlemen, to see that patriotic citizens like side opposition, who claim to be citizens of Nigeria, will support violence. They told us that Niger Delta militants and Boko Haram were doing the right thing. This thing that have been troubling the government for decades and years is what they are supporting. This is just to show us that if we join side opposition, then we are putting Nigeria in a comatose situation. They thought of multiple taxation, ladies and gentlemen, but we know that these foreign investors come from country where taxation is major order of the day. Today, over 60% of the American economy depends on tax, as well as the British, where 70% of their economy depends on tax. They thought of the inconsistency in policies, ladies and gentlemen. But that is what we are saying, ladies and gentlemen, that because of the inconsistency in politics in Nigeria, foreign investors will find no reason to come to Nigeria, because you will set a business with this president, and next of all, another president comes and abandons that project. Nigeria had the problem of inconsistency right from the military regime, where a leader will be here, the next thing we see, the leader is overthrown by a coup. Ladies and gentlemen, side opposition told us that foreign investors are coming to develop underdeveloped nations. But ladies and gentlemen, the purpose of every business is to make profit. Have they finished developing their own country? Talk less of Nigeria. And on this ground, we believe we have been able to convince you to join side proposition. Thanks.
Thank God that the third speaker here have given us the percentage of tax that other countries have laying on the investors. And I believe in her record, none of these countries were taxing up to 40%. But in Nigeria, it is 60%. So I believe you have taken that into note. Then will you compare the country that is levying 30, 40 with the country that is levying 60% on the investors? No, I believe you have not gone deep into research. Please, my lovely co-debaters, then you have to do that. And also, you were talking about power supply. I don't know, you people are just circumnavigating around one point, saying, we have bad roads, we have bad electricity. It's like you are not attentive enough. I have made this clear to you by saying it is due to lack of generosity in our country. The tax is not generous, but in other countries it is generous. If our tax is generous, at least if an investor is supposed to pay 600 as his tax, and today you reduce it to 400, at least he will not be disturbed, because even if there's no light, at least you have reduced it for him. He can take care of those issues. And also you were saying, there is no stability. That is why these foreign investors are leaving. Then it's like you've not answered this question. What of in the time of Obasanjo? What have you said about it? And just look critically. Now, our former president, Yar'Adua, he was was working hand in hand with Good Luck. They're having the same idea. And I believe that even after the death of Yaradua, our president presently, that is Good Luck, is also working on the things they have discussed with his former president, because I can remember the second point agenda he is still putting into consistent, but still foreign investors are leaving. Please, if you want this country to move forward, I want us to work on the issue of tax.
Unanimously, the three judges gave it to Ebonyi.
With that result, Ebonyi entered the spot to square it up with Delta State, which defeated Kaduna State in the other semi-final bout. That semi-final we showed you in the last episode. The final between Ebonyi and Delta State will come to you in the next episode. Once again, Happy New Year.